So I was sent this question by a classmate of yours, and this is a super, super common question that I get throughout my semesters teaching this course. And it's not real easy to respond to in an email, at least it's not for me. So ta-da, you get a video. Before we really get into the idea of cumulative frequency, I'm going to come down here for a minute and we're going to talk about snowfall. It's not something that you've read books, you know about snowfall. We don't get it a lot here, but like you've seen stuff, you've watched the news, you've seen the Weather Channel. So this is the ground. That is 0 inches of snow. And maybe after the first day, we have accumulated 1 inch of snow. And so if we were to measure, we start at 0 and we go to 1. The next day, maybe even overnight, we get more snow. And maybe this is 3.36 inches of snow because my snow measuring stick is incredibly precise. Well, if we look at the range of snow received that day, it would start at 1 and go to 3.36 inches. And then maybe the next time I go out, I'm at 5 inches of snow. This drawing is not to scale, and this is very magical snow that can fall in exact inch increments, just so you know. This last layer of snow, our measurements for that day would start at 3.36 inches and go to 5 inches. So you can think of these as like the upper and lower ends of the classes. We're going to use the same idea to look at the cumulative frequency. We're going to focus on this last column and realize with cumulative frequency, we're starting at 0. We always start counting at 0. That's where it makes sense to start counting. So this first class actually goes from 0% to 20%. The second one, we start measuring at 20%. And we go to 36%. The third class starts where the other one left off and goes to 58%. The next class starts at 58% and ends at 80%. That last class down there starts at 80% and ends with 100%. Great, Ms. Graham. That's beautiful. You make wonderful percent signs. What does this have to do with what we're talking about? Well, if you look right here, here's that percentile we were interested in. You were interested in P58. You need to understand what percentile really means. The percentile, in a mix of English and statistics speak, is the spot that divides the data. Later on, it will be the area, but for right now, it's the spot that divides the data into the lower %, and the upper 42%. So I'm looking for the spot where that 58% sort of stops. Might be an okay way to say it. Well, right in here, if I look at those cumulative percentages, like my snowfall amounts, if I split the 58s in half, it happens right between 2 and 3. So if I average 2 and 3, I get 2.5. That means P58 is 2.5. Now, there are other ways they could ask this question. They could ask you for P22. Well, this means I am looking for the spot that divides the data into the lower 22nd, the lower 22% and the upper 78%. So I come in here and I notice that 22% falls between 20 and 36. So that means my 22nd percentile occurs when we only have one sibling. So that means P22 on my 22nd percentile is 1 because it's solidly in that category. When you get one that's on the boundary line, like we did with the 58, or if we wanted P80, the 80th percentile divides the data into the lower 80% and the upper 20%. Well, the dividing line for my 80% is right here between 3 and 4. So I need to find exactly in the middle of 3 and 4. So P80 would be 3.5. I hope this helps. This is definitely something I would make sure that you have made notes about for your upcoming exam, because it very well could come back to haunt you, and you're allowed to use your notes on the test. If you have more questions, send them my way. I am ready and waiting.